Hey guys, so in my last video I talked about my favorite airport tips and airline hacks, and in that video I briefly talked about global entry and TSA Precheck and the fact that if you are a frequent flyer, this may be something that you may want to consider. If you want to know what my favorite airport tips and airline hacks are, definitely feel free to check out that video. I'll link it down in the description below. So if you are interested in TSA Precheck or global entry and can't figure out the difference between the two and trying to understand which program is best for you, that's what this video is for. I thought it would be great to sit down and go through a deep dive, a total breakdown of TSA Precheck and global entry, the difference between the two of them, the processes, so you can decide which one of the two is best for you, if any at all. Before we dive into it, I do want to mention that there is a third security clearance option available called Clear. I believe it's in about 30 airports and it costs around $179 a year. I won't be going into depth about Clear in this video, but if you are interested in Clear and you'd love to see a video about that, let me know in the comments below. So welcome if you're new here. My name is Kim and this is KRod Collective. On this channel, we talk about all things travel so you can travel with less anxiety and more confidence. What exactly are TSA Precheck and global entry? So I can tell you this, they're not the same thing. They're two different programs. They're both programs within the Trusted Traveler program, which is run by Homeland Security and Customs and Border Control. So they are both expedited security and benefits programs within the United States. And all this really means is that you get to kind of go through security and customs a lot faster with less hassle and less intrusion because you are part of the Trusted Traveler program, which means you have done a background check ahead of time. The main difference between the two of them is that global entry includes TSA Precheck, but TSA Precheck does not include global entry. I love how I just used my hands as a demonstration there. So I do want to mention that both these programs cost a fee to join. So there are some credit card and frequent flyer programs that will cover the cost of these fees. I don't know which ones those are because I personally don't use credit cards, but if you do, then definitely go ahead and Google that, research it, and find out which credit card program will cover the cost. If you use their card to pay for global entry or to pay for TSA Precheck, they will refund you and they will cover the cost of the fees to join these programs. So let's start with TSA Precheck. So before we even get started, go to TSA's website and find out if your nearby airport participates in this program. So right now, at the time of filming this video, TSA Precheck is available in about 200 airports and has about 80 participating airlines. On their website, there is a map where you can see, click on which state you live in, and it will show you which airport within your state participates in the TSA Precheck program. I will link their website and that particular page to the maps down in the description box below, so make sure you check it out. The TSA Precheck is expedited security screening and benefits for flights departing US airports. So this basically means normally when you go to the airport, you have to go through security before you get onto your flight. And normally in the airport security line, you have to take off your shoes, any jackets or coats that you're wearing. You have to take all of your electronics out, all of your electronics that are bigger than a cell phone out of your bag and put them in a gray bin. You also have to take out any food that you may have, and you also have to keep your liquids in a separate bag. And some of the security lines at airports can get pretty long. So with TSA Precheck, what this means is when you go to the airport, you'll have a green check or you'll have an indication, a TSA Precheck indication on your boarding pass. It's also, I believe, embedded in the barcode that will indicate and show that you are a part of the TSA Precheck program. You don't have to go through the general security line. You're going to a separate line. You don't have to take off your shoes. You don't have to take off your jackets or coat. Your laptop and other electronics can stay in your bag. Your food can stay in your bag, and you go straight through. Normally, the TSA Precheck lines are also, most of the time, they are shorter, and very rarely have I been to the airport and seen the TSA Precheck line be longer than the general security line. I think there was one or two times that I've been to the airport where it has been a bit backed up, but it does tend to move a lot faster. So it's really important to know that TSA Precheck lines are not open all the time. So you need to go on to the website to find out when the TSA Precheck line is open at your airport. So I know, for example, for me, living in Atlanta, Hartsfield Jackson Airport, the TSA Precheck line is open from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. So if I have a flight before then, I'm not going to be able to do TSA Precheck because the line won't be open. So you're saving a lot of hassle and you're saving a lot of time. It's really great for people who travel often, especially domestic flights within the US, especially people who are traveling for business. TSA Precheck costs $85 for a 5-year membership. So before the 5 years is up, you have to renew if you want to continue to stay in the program. So something else to note is that if you are traveling, let's say you're married and your spouse has TSA Precheck, it doesn't mean that you have it as well. There are times where TSA Precheck will honor you flying with a family member or a spouse who has TSA Precheck, and they will bump you up and free of charge. This has happened to me a few times before I got global entry. My parents both have TSA Precheck, and when I would travel with them, because they both have TSA Precheck, they would automatically bump me up along with them so that we can keep flowing and traveling together. But this isn't always the case, so don't make the assumption that just because you have TSA Precheck and you're traveling with your spouse or your friend or your family member that they will automatically get bumped. It can happen because it's happened to me. I know that they do that sometimes, but it may not happen. So just because you have it doesn't mean your spouse will automatically get it as well. However, if you have kids and you have TSA Precheck and they are ages 12 and under, they automatically get TSA Precheck with you. So if you love travel as much as I do and you're finding this video beneficial and helpful so far, definitely hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you know when I have a new upload. Now let's move on to global entry. Global entry is that expedited security screening and benefits that we talked about with TSA Precheck, because remember, global entry includes TSA Precheck, plus it is expedited US customs screenings for air travelers entering the United States. So what's the deal with customs? Unlike immigration, which is usually more about people traveling between countries, customs is more about what you're bringing back and what goods and things you have with you when you're traveling between countries. When you're traveling internationally and you cross the border, there are certain things that you cannot bring into each country. For example, here in the United States, there are certain plants, certain foods that you cannot bring into the country. And it's not just the United States. Every country has customs and border control. It has a list of rules and regulations that tell you what you can and cannot bring into the country. Normally, you have to go through customs when you come back from an international flight. So for example, let's say you go and visit Greece. On your flight back from Greece back to the United States, when you're on the plane, there is a customs form that you need to fill out, your name and what you're bringing back into the country. So global entry is really great for people who travel internationally often. Global entry also includes expedited customs services on land between Canada and Mexico. So also something important to note is that with global entry, you do have to already have a valid passport to apply for the program. So who can apply for TSA Precheck and global entry? TSA Precheck is only open for US citizens, US nationals, and lawful permanent residents. Global entry is open to US citizens, US lawful permanent residents, but it's also open to citizens of other countries as well. So I will list the countries eligible for global entry program down below in the description box. So if you are under the age of 18 and would like to participate in the global entry program, you do have to have a parent or a legal guardian consent to your participation. Global entry costs $100, so it's $15 more than TSA Precheck, and it also lasts 5 years. So before the 5 years is up, if you want to stay in the program, you have to renew. So how do you apply for these programs? How do you become a part of them? TSA Precheck, you need to fill out the application online, and then you need to go into an enrollment center and have your fingerprint taken. Then after you fill out the application, you go to the enrollment center, you get your fingerprint, you bring in your forms of ID. Then what happens is you are sent in the mail, you're sent a known traveler number. And the thing with that number is you're gonna wanna hold onto it. I love to put my known traveler number in my phone. I also have it in a little tip is in the My TSA app, there is also a place for you to put your known traveler number. So that's also another place that you can keep it. You want to keep that on hand because what happens is for participating airlines, when you book a flight with them, when you're filling out your information to get your airline ticket, there is a part where it says known traveler number, and that's what you're going to put in. So once you put in that known traveler number when you're booking your ticket, that is what's going to be forwarded to your boarding pass and embed it in your barcode. To get into the global entry program, you need to fill out an application online. Then you go through a background check. Then you need to make an appointment at an enrollment center to go in and do an interview. So I'm not going to go into depth about what happens at global entry interviews, but if you'd like me to make a video on what to expect for your global entry interview, let me know in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to do that. After your interview, wait in the mail and you get your global entry card. And on the back of your card is your known traveler number. Just like TSA Precheck, global entry also, you will get a known traveler number. So the cool thing about the global entry card is that it's also considered Real ID compliant. So you can use it as a valid form of ID. So what I do is now when I go to the airport, I don't even use my driver's license as my form of ID when I'm doing, when I travel domestically, I use my global entry card. So most of the enrollment centers are at the airport. Global entry does a really cool thing called enrollment upon arrival. And what it means is that if you're unable to make an appointment at your nearest enrollment center, what you can do is when you're flying in from an international trip, you can schedule an appointment and do an interview at the airport, part of your customs and immigration process. And now I think it's available at something like 64, 65 airports. So you're going through the global entry process, your interview process, at the same time as going through immigrations and customs. Really cool. So ultimately, at the end of the day, the decision is going to come down to you, how often you travel, hassle or the ease of the airport combined with the money and time it takes to enroll and apply to these programs. See you guys next week. Bye. The process of the interview and hi. My cat is here. She's every time I film, she comes around, but she never wants to be on camera.